I am not an expert, but I love the theatre. My father was an actor, as is my son today. This place, which was conceived as a theatrical scene, was built in 1554 and commissioned by two brothers, Daniele and Marcantonio Barbaro, ambassadors to London and to Constantinople, respectively. The Barbaro brothers commissioned architect Andrea Palladio to build a villa on the slopes of the Asolo Hills, on the remains of the family's old medieval palace, while the decoration of the villa was entrusted to Paolo Veronese. At that time, Europe was experiencing a very important moment in its history, which saw division through the constant warring between Austria, Turkey, Italy, Spain, and England, the Battle of Lepanto, and the defeat of the invincible Armada. This period in history, therefore, witnessed the shunning of the Republic of Venice, while England's rising star was acquiring ever greater power. These two great civilizations joined forces and helped each other to solve the problems of diplomacy. One splendid autumn day about 5 years ago, I wanted to visit Villa Barbaro, a place that has always been dear to me since my youth. Together with my daughter Beatrice, it is one of the most important buildings in the history of European architecture, painting, music, and theatre. Walking through the halls, I felt a part of that place. There is a musical rhythm to the underlying architectural shapes. I don't know why, but the charm of the place reminded me of the contemporaneity of the works of Shakespeare. I imagined myself in Veronese's frescos, the master of the place, with guests present, sitting at the table at a banquet, facing the light, in the direction of Venice, the woman to my left and the man to my right. The resemblance with Bassanio and Portia was immediate for me, just as we have Bassano del Grappa to our right and Porcia to our left. Before me were the Montello Hill, Monticulus Montecchio, the many members of the Capoletto family who live here, Capulet, and the name of the town of Montebelluna, Belmonte, where the villa still stands today. There is a precise pattern in Shakespeare's plays, which is extremely clear in The Merchant of Venice. The first act suggests the who and the what, while the last act offers the solution. The scheme is very prominent in this comedy. There are the boys portrayed, who share the dualism of the brother figures in all Shakespearean comedies. There is a black woman, Nerissa, beside the mistress, and I also see Venus and Adonis, and heaven inhabited by deities, as in Falstaff's dream. The emotion made me more curious and attentive, inducing me to pick up and study the texts. I had to understand better the connection between this place and England. Inigo Jones, a follower of Palladio, was the main proponent of the great Venetian architect's style and architecture in the Anglo-Saxon world. He brought the technique of scenic movement, hitherto unknown in England, from Venice to the Counts of Pembroke in Penshurst, while Ben Jonson brought the masques, the musical comedies, to life. Marcantonio Barbaro had 4 children, of whom one was Francesco, who became Patriarch of Aquileia, and another Almoro. These had the opportunity to meet Philip and Mary Sidney while they were in Venice and staying at Moser. It is my deduction and practical observation that Almaro's secret diplomatic mission was in the service of the Republic. He subsequently reappears with Ben Jonson and Kidd at Penshurst. Clearly, the actors were not hindered in their movements, nor were they controlled. This is the moment the English secret services were founded by a Venetian, Almaro Barbaro, at the very moment when the monarchy was being abolished by Oliver Cromwell. The Latin cardinal certainly could not expose himself as a lover of the most important woman of the state, Mary Sidney, and neither could he be seen to have written or signed his own works. It is very easy to imagine that there was more than one level of friendship between the two, as is shown by 3 dates. Mary Sidney died in 1621, Almaro Barbaro in 1622. Even though very little is known about him, considering that he was such an important and prominent individual. Finally, the first folio was printed in 1623, namely the first publication of the works of William Shakespeare, by 2 frontmen, John Hemmings and Henry Condell, who in reality were, I believe, Mary Sidney's sons, whom she had with Almaro Barbaro. According to my deduction, she was unable to have children with the aging Count of Pembroke. The Barbaros were a very ancient apostolic family. The sons were of imperial stature, known throughout Europe, while the Sidneys and the Pembrokes were very recent nobles. In addition to places, I thought of music because the comedies are set to music and therefore require more than one hand for their execution. Sidney's Arcadia, 1590, follows the same lines as Monteverdi's Madrigals, 1587. I read some strained attributions by a stale critic, according to whom the music would have been of a popular inflection. Leaving aside the impudence, the hand of nobility is evident in the comedies, certainly not popular songs.
Donna così mescia per le strette se va la foglia e stanno brano giovatanzi e pomi deloliti e crudi godan con miel ben